Oh, cool. We are live. I thought my lighting got a little dark, but it came back. So, uh, happy Tuesday, happy live stream. Just a reminder for everyone, give a chance to jump in. And if you're watching on replay, you could jump ahead like 2 minutes and get right into the interview. And let's get started on Instagram too here. All right. And we are now live on Instagram as well. All right, here we go. Hello, and welcome to the Bellwether Ritual live stream, where we discuss music, the local Lehigh Valley, PA scene, and very beyond today, bands, social media, and more. Today is Tuesday, August 20th. My name is Mike, and I'm the guitarist and vocalist of Bellwether Ritual. Hope you had a great week. And just a reminder to please like and subscribe if you like what we do here, and also go out and support your local musicians, especially if you are a local musician. That's the best way to support and meet all of the people you want to be networking with and all that good stuff. Let's see what else here tonight. Our guests are Brenna and Aaron of Crystal Spiders. I actually have a question about your band name that I want to hold, but I can't wait to ask. Crystal Spiders is a band out of North Carolina that blends classic rock and heavy metal dynamics, psychedelic textures, and doomed out bluesy swing. They will be playing Ripplefest in Texas next month, a gig with Whores in Raleigh, in October 16th, and they're finalizing their third album for Ripple in the studio right now. We'll talk about all that and more. Brennan, Aaron, welcome to the stream. How you doing tonight?
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be here.
Of course, excited to have you. Anything you want to plug right off the top? I know you got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. Just let everyone know where they can find your music or shows you got coming up, all that good stuff.
Well, we got all the usual social media stuff. We've got Instagram and Facebook, TikTok. We've got a YouTube. We're on Spotify, Apple Music. So anywhere that you can find stuff about bands, you could look for Crystal Spiders, and hopefully you would find us, and we would be there, and you can follow us and listen. We have a link tree that's linked in our Instagram bio that has all of our little ticket sales and blurbs and stuff. Of course, I forgot to say Bandcamp, which of course is where our merch store is.
Yes.
And then of course the Ripple Music Shop, which has our vinyl and all sorts of other goodies of the musical variety.
Yeah, I was looking at some of that today. Some pretty cool looking, like purple, kind of not splatter. What do you call that? When you put the?
It was a splatter.
Okay,
You got it the first time. You didn't even have to get going. You just nailed it right off the.
Fair enough. All right, it looked really cool. Yeah.
Thanks.
So yeah, go check that out. And like I said before, they're in the studio and have some awesome gigs coming up. You want to talk a little bit about maybe the two Ripple Fest and the Horse Show?
Sure. So we have been with Ripple pretty much since our inception. So our first two albums, Molt and Morieris, came out on Ripple. I also have another band, Lightning Born, that is on Ripple. So we are Ripple family through and through. And we just did two of the European Ripple Fest Berlin and Ripplefest Cologne, and then we're super excited when we got asked to play Ripplefest Texas. I have never been to Austin, so it's a big trip for me, and I don't think Aaron or Reed have been there before either. So it's totally a first time Crystal Spiders experience to go to Texas. We're really excited about that. And then when I saw the lineup, I was even more stoked because Mars Red Sky is one of my all-time favorite bands, and the fact that we get to play with them on a festival is just like mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. How did you get how'd the relationship with Ripple come about?
So actually, I think that it was a connection through my other band, Lightning Born. Our bass player is Mike Dean, who has been in Corrosion of Conformity for a really long time, and he had met Todd a couple of times and reached out and was able to form that connection. And then Todd and I kind of hit it off while we were working together for Lightning Born. So when we were trying to figure out who was going to release Crystal Spiders, I reached out to Todd and he was like, "Of course, Brenna, we love you." And I was like, well, that's very exciting because I love you too. And also it is such an honor to be working with a label that releases so many bands that I love to listen to, and also have just turned out to be really good people and become good friends over the years.
Yeah, it's really that's such a cool and interesting part of like a band's journey. We're kind of starting to tap at that a little bit of be like, oh my God, wouldn't it be amazing to open for, name the band like Baroness came through twice and we pitched to them, or not twice, but within our range. So just trying to get used to that and yeah, like you're saying, meeting bands that you really admire, or I don't know. Sometimes they say like don't meet your heroes and stuff like that, but I don't know. It just seems to be like that's the way you do it. Go out there and yeah, just kind of
And then
network.
sometimes your heroes become like your best buds.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
talking
really
about.
exciting.
Why not take the chance, right? So yeah, it sounds like Austin is exploding right now too. Like I think there's just a lot of like influx from the shakeup from the whole COVID thing. So that should be really interesting as well.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't mean to bring that up, but like it's just cool that such a big music city just seems to be growing too.
Well, I'm sad. I've just been seeing all this circulation online about the Lost Well closing down and St. Vitus closing down, and I've
I saw
never
that.
been to Austin, so I've never been to the Lost Well, but
Yeah.
I see my friends post about it all the time, and it seems like their cheers, their hangout, their favorite spot, and so I'm
Yeah.
like pretty disappointed that I'm just gonna miss it entirely. It seems like.
Yeah. That is a bummer. And that's kind of a thing going around with the whole closing venues thing. Is that something that's hit the North Carolina scene?
So there was definitely a lot of like I would say a slowdown and a challenge. We're actually undergoing a potential, I guess, fight with the city of Raleigh right now. There's an amphitheater downtown called the Red Hat Amphitheater where we get some really big bands there. I've seen Judas Priest there. I think Aaron, you saw Queens of the Stone Age there
Oh,
recently,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's a really wonderful asset to our downtown just to be able to go see an outdoor show there. And then, of course, all the other bars and clubs and restaurants get all the business from the downtown foot traffic. So I
Mm.
think we're all about to band together as the music scene of Raleigh to try to see if we can save it. But I also, of course, understand that there are a lot of bigger things at play when it comes to the development and evolution of a cityscape. So you got to fight for the things that you care about and you want to keep around. It's part of the culture.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and that just doesn't care, it just it just rolls over, it steamrolls everything. Um, I don't know, progress they say, but I don't know, we'll see. All right. So how the band started well, you tell me. How did the band start? What came together? How did that go?
I feel bad because I'm just like steamrolling Aaron in
Well,
this
go ahead, Aaron.
conversation, but
Well, I mean,
Aaron, do you want to
I
tell them
wasn't
how
there at the
Crystal Spider
beginning,
started?
so you
So I
know,
just gotta keep like fielding these parts of the conversation.
We're
Sorry,
good.
Aaron.
okay.
We'll
But
get
how
to
about this? I'll say about how Crystal Spiders started, and
cool.
then you can say about how you became involved with Crystal Spiders, and then we'll, you
Sounds
know,
good.
go from there. Um, so actually, I had been playing in a couple of bands, Lightning Born and The Hell No, for quite a while, and I really wanted to branch out into playing bass and playing in a three piece. I had been singing for a while. I played guitar briefly and just really didn't like it that much. I wanted to give a try at bass. So actually, my friend Mike Deloach started Crystal Spiders with me. He was playing guitar and also trading off on some vocals. So you'll hear him on vocals on the demo that we have on our Bandcamp. And then we found our drummer Trad actually through Craigslist because every drummer that we knew at the time, including Aaron, had way too much going on and was in too many other bands to join us. So that was how Molt came about. And then the pandemic actually hit right around when we were releasing Molt. So yeah, that was 2020. I think we released it like during the pandemic pretty much. And over that span of time, just a lot changed, like with everybody's time and interests, and I ended up like Deloach decided to leave the band to focus on other things because he left to be only a singer in one of his projects because he was having some issues with his hand and playing guitar, and now he's switched over to playing bass in the Magpie, which if anybody listening hasn't checked them out, I definitely encourage you to. We're going to play with them with Horrors at that show coming up. So still good friends and excited about the projects that he's involved with. And then Trad was playing in Doomsday Prophet as well, and he decided to take a step back from music entirely because he was just having a lot of burnout, I think. And so in comes Aaron.
Yeah, it was pandemic ruined a lot. Nobody was doing much of anything really.
A lot of bands fell apart during COVID.
Oh yeah. It was sad.
Me and Brenna were kind of bored and just started jamming, which was a lot of fun, and one thing led to another, and here I am. I love jamming in this band. It's a very fun band, great members, low drama.
Always a plus, yes.
Number one thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the new record we're writing. It's can't wait till everybody hears it. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
And it's got a good producer as well. So
who was the producer?
Well, Mike Dean, he's recording, and I consider him a producer because he's got a lot of info. He's like, I didn't like that. That was lame.
Work on creative feedback.
He only says that when I'm not in the room, I
think. Aaron, but it's been a lot of fun writing it, and I can't wait till everybody gets to hear it.
Yeah, awesome. You had mentioned that. Well, one is one of my number one things is low drama, but the other is that you talked about being fun to jam with the band and all that kind of stuff. What is it? Is it a specific thing that that really kind of caught your ear, your attention about it?
Well, I'd played with Brenna and the Hell No for a short amount of time once their drummer moved away and they needed a replacement, so jumped in there, and so I was already used to playing with it. I would say one of the biggest things I love about the band I'm in is the musicianship. Great musicians. To my opinion, I couldn't think of anybody I'd rather be playing with. So
very cool. Yeah, I feel like that's always the hard part, right? Finding the right people.
Right.
Yeah. Without the right people, it just doesn't go anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah, so Andy Profane has a comment here. I'm just going to throw it up on the screen right quick. He says, can't wait to hear the new record.
Thank you. We are so excited about it.
Yeah.
What's up, Andy?
Definitely have to give Aaron a plug on the new record, too, because Aaron, speaking of great musicianship, can play a guitar, he can play bass, he can play drums.
Wow.
He's like got his own one-man band thing going on. So he be throwing some riffs in the mix. And so we've got a couple of interesting songs on this record that Aaron brought some of the riffs to the table. So I'm excited for everybody to get to hear those.
Awesome. What'd you start with, Aaron?
What's that?
What did you start with, a specific instrument, or just like
really drums? Yeah, that was my first passion. I'd beat on everything my mom had, her pots or pans, spoons, all that stuff, and they gave me a drum set, but it didn't stop there. I started, playing with other kids I knew, and they had guitars and basses. We had a place to practice, so they would leave their stuff at my house. And I would go down there and mess with it, and I started, it was just kind of came naturally, especially since you see them play, you see what they're doing, pay attention, and I started picking it up and never really got the whole vocal thing down very well. Not that so, but yeah, I do love playing. bass, guitar, drums. It's a lot of fun. It's especially fun to put it all together and make a song. So
Yeah, I think it's great too. What do you record as well? Like
yeah, amateur,
sure,
home
yeah.
recording.
Oh, same.
Not the
Don't sell
best.
yourself short. You have done a lot of work on the practice space and turning it into like basically the demo zone. We've now got everything mic'd up. We went through this whole little project where I actually had received like an old like 2010 or 2012 Mac Mini. And
Oh,
so
wow.
like we like took it to the computer shop and had it like completely like rebuilt, revamped, and made that into our little uh recording computer. But Aaron has gotten really good at doing some mixes, so that made writing this album really easy because we would just go in, and I think at least one or two of the songs was just us coming in and like I just got excited and started randomly noodling on some riffs, and then
Bad.
before we knew it, like 2 hours later, we had a whole song like recorded and demoed
Those are always the
that just
best.
came out of nowhere. Yeah, and it's so much fun. I remember Aaron was like, I took it home, showed it to my family. They were like, "Whoa, this is you guys! It's so awesome!" So I was like, I hope everybody that listens to the record gets
Yeah.
the same impression.
That's what we
Yeah.
do it for, right?
Yeah, it
Aaron,
was super exciting.
yeah, very cool. Aaron, as a writing drummer, um, let's see. I feel like that gives a really good. So I always like to try to encourage all the musicians I play with to write and sing as much as as much as they can, even if they're not going to do it in the band. Just
Mhm.
because I feel like it gives you a perspective on two things. Well, one, if you sing and play at the same time, you can only do so much, which kind of not saying there aren't times where we step out and like shred and do all the fun stuff too, but when we want to
Right.
keep it simple, like that's just a good reminder if you have to do more than one thing of like, hey, maybe just give it a little, keep it simple and then you can do both things well. And yeah, so I'm just curious too.
I felt personally attacked by this whole conversation.
what is this? Go ahead.
So what was the I didn't hear the end
No,
of
there
the
wasn't. I
question.
was just wondering what the attack. What do you mean?
Yeah, you've been singing a little bit. Time
Oh yeah,
travel.
do some backup vocals in the band.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of that.
I guess where I was going with it was like you have a songwriter's perspective too. It's not just
Mhm.
like a guitarist's perspective, a drummer's perspective, a bass player's perspective. Like you put the whole thing together. So I feel like when people get used to doing that, they look at their individual parts different too, and would maybe consider playing things that would serve the song. Because you put the whole thing together.
Definitely.
You understand how it
I
works.
mean, honestly, I've learned a lot as far as that goes over the years.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've played in bands where I've tried to do too much, and I kind of stepping on people's feet, like see how much double bass I can put in the song, and it's just
Yeah.
not necessary sometimes. And you're exactly right. Serving the song is the most important thing, because like I said before, everybody in this band, the musicianship's great, and there's no need for me to do anything
Yeah.
to step on anybody's toes in this band. So, everybody can shine. So it definitely helps. It definitely helps.
I started off on bass and I was the same way. I'm like, I'm going to put 110 into this bass line all the way through the song. And after I started writing, I was like, oh, I don't really know if I have to do that the entire way through. Or, hey, I'm going to let
Yeah,
guitar breathe here. Or this is the time where the bass steps forward. So,
that's exactly
yeah.
right. And one of our good friends, Ash, told me one time we were going to go watch a band play, and he was like, I don't want to watch them play. I was like, why? He was like, because their bass player just does way too much. He was like, man, that guy needs to learn to, ride it and rock it, man. He's just sounds like he's doing a solo the whole time. And I'm like, oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So they mean to.
I'm a keep
throw you
it
under the
simple,
bus there,
stupid
Ash.
songwriter, man. I'm like,
Same.
I also think that of the studio as like, it's like if you're cooking and you need some salt, but like, be judicious with it because you can always add it, but you can't take it away. So if you go in there with like just good bones of a song,
Yep.
I drive Mike crazy because I always go in there and then I'm like, yeah, and then I want to put 4 different harmonies on, but I know I'm only gonna keep 2.
Yeah.
So then, like, I put extra things on there, get a mix down, and then you have the things to add back during the mix, which I find he ends up doing a lot of, like, oh no, that high harmonies, I don't know, that's not really working. But then you know what? It ends up back in there, ducked in, and just adds like that little extra flavor towards the end of the mix that I think is a nice way to approach the studio experience. Because even if you can't do it live all the time, you know, you want a simple, strong, powerful live experience. But then I feel like your opportunity to be a creator, excuse me, is when you get into the studio and you can really carve out this listening experience for the person who's going to be hopefully listening to your record more than once and notice different things every time they listen to it. If they only listen to it once, thank you, sir, for your $25, and I appreciate you. But hopefully you get more than one listen out of it.
So how much are you thinking about that when you're writing? Like, are you considering the audience in there? Are you like, this is going to be great because we can do like a callback back and forth thing? Or like, how far deep do you get into that? Or are you looking to
I think it depends on the song because some of the ones that I've written or done, I'll start like at home and I'll add some layers and I'll do kind of like one version of the song that has some elements to it that I like. And then when I go take it to the rest of the band, it becomes a different song based on everyone else's additions and their parts that they write. And then we can build on it that way in the studio. But I think I try to just I think Aaron probably laughed at me a couple times when he was first like learning some of the Crystal Spider songs, and I was like, "No, when you playing this song and the way that you think about the tempo, it's like a Cramps song, but you're like kind of mad at it. But you want the person to be thinking that you know, like they've been stuck at the beach for a really long time and they just want to go home, man. But like." Nobody else wants to go home. Like that's the vibe of the song. And he's like, "Well, I don't really know what you're talking about, bud."
I'll do my best. Yeah, I love when or you ever like I just was watching something. I forget what the band was, but they were in a studio recording in a house. It might have been the Chili Peppers actually, and they were just talking to each other about like, oh, we'll do this part, but a bit, you know, just musicians speak. It's and then they cut to them playing it. It's just really
the diddly doodlies.
Yeah. All right. So one thing I forgot to mention off the top is I saw your name, your band name initially, and I'm like, I bet you I know where that comes from. But I wanted to check and make sure. Yeah, where did that come from?
Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats.
Woo woo! So we love Uncle Acid. Like that's been one of the things that brought the people from our band together. Like that was one thing I put out there. Like I was reading through and then I saw Uncle Acid and I decided to write. So yeah, love them. They just released a new record. Have you heard that at all?
Which one?
Uncle Acid. They put out a record called, what was it called? Shoot.
I think I missed it, which is going to make me feel really guilty.
It's okay. It was really different for them. Hold on. Why can't I remember the name of this record?
It was all a dream. That's why
neither of us heard it yet. No, this is why, because it's in Italian.
Oh.
So basically, they put a record together that is, well, they say it's like the soundtrack to a movie that doesn't exist, but it's like an old giallo film soundtrack kind of thing. So, but
awesome.
It has like Italian actors doing like voiceover phone calls and actually acting out parts and stuff. So it was pretty interesting. Very long.
That is going to be on my list of things to do pretty much as soon as I get off of this live stream.
Yeah. It was a cool first listen. So it's called Nell Ora Blue. Not much like their other stuff. I mean, it's still Uncle Acid, but definitely taking kind of a right hand turn there. So
it's like Nephew Acid.
Yeah, there you go. Anti-acid.
I don't think that means what you think it means.
Let's see. What else we got here for you? I just want to shout out some people from Instagram because I haven't been paying attention to you, and I'm sorry. So Chick Leo HXC, thank you for joining. Identical the band, thank you for joining. Josh Burke, thank you for joining. Cult Icon, thank you for joining. And Atlas Burning Band, thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
hashtag Cult Icon, NC represent. What's up, folks?
Let's see here. I have a couple more questions for you, and then we'll wrap up. You were mentioning something before, and I wrote it down. Just give me a second to get to it. Oh, you're talking about burnout.
Oh, the burnout.
Yeah,
burnout is so real.
Because I'm having a little bit right now. Just maybe talk about that, and maybe any kind of other advice you have for bands who might be either suffering from that or just starting out. And
well, I'm going to tell you, I think this whole lineup got some burnout. I know I definitely did, but we all collectively talked about it. Well, all three of us went through a job change like within the same year. I had a really bad job burnout, and I got a new job. I had also had kind of like just 2 brutal years of constant rotating illnesses. Like I had a pandemic baby, and then after I had the baby, it was just like one thing after the other. So even while we were getting this lineup up and running, it was like every 2 weeks I was canceling practice because I was down with some other thing that like I couldn't meet up. I just got over COVID again. Yeah. So
yeah.
Man, just when you think you got up, you really don't. But I got a new job. Reed got a new job. Aaron's kind of in a job transition-y phase right now.
Same.
And then we wrote that record. We put a ton of work into getting a live set for Europe. We did Europe. We came back. We put down the bulk of the album in the studio pretty much right when we got back. And then played another few little weekend tour runs in the spring, and then we just collectively decided like summer off from shows, man. Like we just need a break. Like I'm so tired.
Yeah.
But then of course we all have like family, and we have day jobs, and we have other stuff going on. So as much as we wish we had all of the energy and time in the world that we could be putting into pounding the pavement and making a million records, like we gotta sleep and we gotta make money and pay bills and be with our families. So I think for us collectively, we all talked about it. Like we took maybe almost like 6 weeks off from even practicing or like getting together, just for kind of a reset. And then we came back and like we wrote a couple little jams, and we completely like cleaned and rearranged our practice space, and that was really like a little zen reset that I think got all of us re-energized. Then we took a couple months off from listening to the mixes because Mike had a lot of other stuff going on, so we've just come back into those with like a fresh perspective to finish the mixes and really like knock out the end of the record. And I just think we did play one surprise gig this summer with Ruby the Hatchet, which was a lot of fun because they were on tour with Baroness, and
oh, awesome.
They just like kind of randomly stopped in Raleigh and then asked us to play with them, and I was like, okay, it's you guys. So I know I said we weren't gonna do any shows this summer, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I will say that like for me personally, gosh, I guess it really ended up being like 4 months with no shows, maybe that one show or something like that. And we've still taken it kind of easy, like one show a month. We got like a couple things we haven't announced yet for the rest of the year, but I just think a lot of bands put too much pressure on themselves to be like constantly churning out content, constantly releasing music, constantly putting together tours. Like the booking is one of the things that just drove me nuts. I was like, dealing with the back and forth of trying to nail down the venue, trying to get the lineup.
Yep.
Well, are we doing gear sharing? Well, who's making the flyer? Okay, well, we will like that is really exhausting to me mentally. So all of that burned me out. Speaking of my COVID crap, I keep coughing, so I'm gonna go on mute when I'm not talking, so I'm not coughing in your ears.
Yes. You mentioned content as well. It is kind of this like, I don't want to say thing you have to do, but kind of. It's part of the marketing and all that kind of stuff. I feel like you have it pretty well together. Is that something like you get help? Are you doing it yourself? Do you get help from the label at all? How does that work?
We share responsibilities. I mean, she does the brunt of it, but you know, we all try to help out with social media.
Yeah.
It's you know, trying to find things to put on there. You know, a lot of people are like, you know, just put something on there daily. It's like, what the hell am I supposed to put on here every day?
What do you want us to do? We're constantly looking for ideas too. So, are you comfortable on camera, or is that something that bothers you? Because I am not comfortable, and it just like you have to get used to it.
Yeah, we've talked about like trying to, you know, find something to do, you know, some like something live, you know, interact with people a little bit.
Yeah.
We've definitely talked about it. It's something that's, you know, possibly could be done soon in the future. So just gotta find a good concept, something to entertain people.
I will say, like, at band practice, we usually end up laughing a lot and having a really good time, but we like never capture the magic. Like you just gotta stick phones in each other's faces like the whole time that you're playing, and then just catch like the hilarious jokes that people are telling to each other. But then you get on camera and you're like, I don't know, man. You know,
what were you saying?
Music, man. I don't know. We don't take ourselves that seriously at practice. We have a couple videos that Aaron and I were getting pretty savvy with like how to set up the camera and take some at practice, but it's hard to strike the balance of like, do I really want people listening to our band practice on their iPhones, crappy like speaker, or should we be working a little harder to like up the ante on the quality? I think there's some bands out there that are nailing it, but we're limping along. We're doing it.
I feel like people are very lenient on quality. Like, well, I should say quality, like capturing.
Hey, that's really like refreshing to hear. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm gonna tell Aaron and Reed like we're listening to the record and we're like,
just do
I don't know, man, it's not good enough. I'm like, you know, people are lenient on quality.
No, I mean with social media.
Okay.
Yeah. People like shitty things now. So
they're usually
a whole new thing.
You know, it's like McDonald's, man. We're the McDonald's of stoner rock. Like they're just lenient on quality, but you know what? Sometimes you just need something greasy. So
oh, come on, that's not all what I meant.
No, but I'm gonna keep that.
I guess
make
what
myself
I meant,
feel better at night is really what I meant.
I guess what I meant was like video quality or shots. They want the content obviously to be good, but they will look past some of, like, I always think too, like when I listen to bands that I really love, like Uncle Acid, they don't have the highest fidelity recordings or anything, but man, do I love them.
I love a good low quality recording.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As I'm constantly telling everyone, the fuzz pedals, man.
Oh yeah.
It's really just making your bass sound like shit, and who doesn't love that?
Yeah. You see all those mids, you just scoop them right out and throw them away.
I feel like you wanted to hear my bass playing, but that really wasn't what I was going for at all. So.
Okay, so Cult Icon says, what up? Thank you for posting there. DJ Dolan 21, thank you for joining. Darkfire, thank you for joining. Al Robinson Photography, thank you for joining. I am Courtney. Thank you for joining. I haven't seen you in a long time, and I appreciate you jumping in here and watching. Yeah, we appreciate it. All right.
And give a thumbs up if you too are lenient on quality. Fire emoji, actually. There's
our clip of the interview. Are you leaning on quality?
Listen to Crystal Spiders.
Listen to this interview. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Is there anything, maybe just a couple little quick wrap-up questions, and then we'll just have you plug everything one more time. You had mentioned, you kind of put the brakes on playing and touring for a little bit and focusing on recording. Anything, are you stepping out into any new genre things, or are you trying any instruments on the new, if you don't want to talk about it and keep it tight-lipped, I totally get it. But I'm just curious, because we always try to what else could we get in here? Is there something to spice it up a little bit?
Well, I'll take this one, Aaron, because this is the third Crystal Spiders one. I've been on all three. So as far as this one is concerned, I will say, to me, this one is about Aaron and Reed getting to put their spin into Crystal Spiders, like, as far as having input into the writing and really being able to put their signature on tone and style. So as far as that's concerned, I think it's just like a super solid rock and roll record, but it's still got um, some of the doomier and slower song aspects too from the first two records. So I will say, in that sense, it is a departure and a maturation from Molt has got more of that like lo-fi punk rock edge. Morieris, really a lot of that was me and Trad, almost like two piece, and then Mike putting on the guitar spin in the studio. So it's a little bit of a darker pandemic record,
Yeah.
frankly. So this one's got some more like higher energy rock and roll tunes, and
Cool.
I think there's definitely some upbeat bangers on this one, more so than on the last one. And then from here, I think we have a lot more ideas for being creative and branching out into some different genre pools.
Mm-hmm.
But for this one, I think, I mean, I don't really want to speak for Aaron and especially Reed for them not being here, but I think you guys both had maybe a lot of energy and a lot of ideas that you'd been like sitting on from not having made a record for a couple years, and I think you can really like feel that energy and that passion on this record.
For sure.
Awesome. The bangers, were you like, did you look at the last record and be like, it's all right, we did it? Looking back on it, like you said, it might be a little dark or a little this or a little that. Was it something that you were like, we want to do this?
I can't be
record?
trusted. I'm not a good judge of my own stuff, because sometimes I'll listen to it. I'll go back and listen to it. I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Actually, that was pretty good. That was better than I remember. And then sometimes I'll go back and listen to it and be like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, this is awful. But no, this one was like, I don't really think it was so much a reflection, other than the fact that like both Aaron and Reed had learned a lot of the songs from Morieris and some of the ones from Molt, and had been playing sets with me for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then we started writing. So I think at that point, you guys had your like kind of feel of how you were playing Crystal Spiders and all the songs we've been doing. And I think a lot of that like kind of naturally poured into the songs on this record. But I don't know, Aaron, what do you think?
Nah, that's exactly right. It just getting to play those songs off those two records, it kind of, changed my view of, way I played things. I started writing things a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And, I'm very appreciative of that. And it's always fun to step into a, kind of a new genre. Mm-hmm. And, it took me a little bit, but tempos are crazy. Everybody playing slower, but
oh yeah, sometimes you still bust out like, what was Trad even doing there? That was crazy. I really appreciate that now after having learned that.
Yeah, Trad's a good drummer, man.
He really is.
He had a lot of really unique stuff on those albums. It was a lot of fun to play. I mean, I changed some stuff up a little bit, but it's not because I'm being a jerk. It's just because I don't No, I'm
No,
not sure what the hell he was
I think
doing.
every lineup has. I think every lineup has a different like personality and a different feel,
Oh,
even to the same songs.
for sure.
But I think it's exciting to me to see how things evolve, and I think this record is definitely growth for Crystal Spiders, and I learned so much from Reed. Like he's a very good guitar player. He's really really good, and I'm
Mhm.
like not that good. So he'll be like he'll be writing stuff and playing stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
like I can't believe. Sometimes I'll be playing it, and I'm like, how do I know how to play that now? Like my fingers just fing.
Yeah.
It's like
It's the best.
they be trying to keep up with him the whole time, even though like still half of the time I feel like he's looking at me like, "Damn it, Brenna, you don't practice this enough at all." And I'm like, "Can't I just play the one string? Do I really need a four?
Yeah.
How many notes are on this fretboard? I really don't need that many of them. Really? Do I? This is bass. Get out of here." But you know, he puts up with me.
And that's how you really, I mean, that's how, I shouldn't say that. That's not how I started. But really, when you find people who are considerably better than you, it does really lift you up too. So that's always
I'm
cool
still
stuff.
a keep it simple, stupid girl,
Me
though.
too.
All the
Me
time,
too.
man.
So
I'm
is
like,
this
you
something,
know, don't
is
put
that
too much
something,
pressure on yourself, man. Rock and roll.
exactly, is that something you have to remind people of constantly, or is it
That
kind
I'm stupid? Yes. But yeah, when I'm in the studio, actually a lot of times, as I said, I'll add more things in here or there, or I'll make suggestions of things to add to the arrangement, and then I'll be like listening, and my usual question is, it's a matter of taste. Like it's not that it's bad,
yeah,
it's done well, but do you need it?
yeah,
Because
that's
if
a
you
hard
don't, like there was also a quote that I read the other day. I'm gonna forget who it was. It's like Coco Chanel or something. It was like, every time you're about to leave the house, look in the mirror and take off one thing.
one.
And I was like, you know what? That's a good perspective for a record. Like
Yeah,
every time you think you're done, turn one thing down or take one thing out. Like,
yeah.
do you really need that extra harmony or like that extra fill? I'm not attacking you, Aaron. Of course you need it. But
The drums have been done a long time.
that's it. I think one of the things that people really like about the doom and stoner genre is that like you want to get kind of a hypnotism. You want to get like
Long, slow, yeah.
exactly. I mean,
Trancy
it
almost kind of, yeah.
that doesn't mean it's easy, and that doesn't
Oh,
mean
God, no.
yeah, and that doesn't mean it's boring. But there's beauty in simplicity sometimes.
Yeah, look, I'm constantly trying to fly that flag and just be like, hey, what can we take out? There is a point in the process where you should be dumping all the ideas out on the table and all, but there's definitely a step where it's like, all right, now remove everything until you're missing something, and then put that thing back, and then you're probably around the right spot there. All right, I got one more quick one for you. Thank you for sticking with me. Brendan, this is a little bit more for you, but I would interested in hearing Aaron's side as well. Are you ever nervous about when other people come into the band and they want to contribute, or you really dug this feel on this song, and everyone feels things differently, everyone times things differently, all that stuff? What's that?
Are you sure it's not for Aaron? I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
really?
No, there's like a
It could be
joke
for Aaron too.
about my bluntness sometimes is like my thing is everyone is always welcome and encouraged to bring ideas to the table, but also be prepared that I might shit on them.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't love you. It's just because if I don't
Yeah.
like it, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna just humor it indefinitely. Which
Maybe
also,
butt rock.
I might call it butt rock. Is what I might do, and if it's butt rock, I'm gonna tell you that it is.
Yep.
And that might hurt. That might get you butt hurt that you were butt rock, but somebody was gonna have to tell you, and you'd rather it be me.
There you go. Save it for the butt rock.
But no, I don't get nervous. I guess the only thing is, the flavor of my personality can be an acquired taste when it comes to the brutal
Creative
honesty. But
process.
I just don't like to waste people's time, you know? And I
Yeah.
don't say things out of like, it's not that your idea isn't good, or it's not that like I don't like you or the way that you are doing something. But I do this a lot of times when it comes to like the sharing of things on social media, or like I'll just say, dudes, I'm getting really tired and I'm getting really burned out. I really need you guys to like step up. And that's what I love about these guys, is that they do, like, they don't make me put it all on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I like that about sharing the songwriting too. It's like I don't have to feel pressured to do everything myself, nor do I have to feel like I can't count on them, or worse, that I would be like telling them it'd be okay to like have a song or do an idea, but then meanwhile I'd be in the studio like, how am I gonna fix this? And like I don't have to do that at all, because you know, I'll just be honest at the start and I'll be like, yes, this sounds like a Crystal Spider song, let's do it. Or
That's a good way to put it.
actually, no, you could save it for later and that'd be okay for you and me.
Yeah.
And then everyone else. But I don't know, Aaron, do you feel like I'm nice enough about it?
Ever since I started playing with you, even in the other band, I mean, one thing I was warned about at first is like, can you handle constructive criticism?
That's a great question.
You know, I mean, honestly,
crumble.
yeah. I mean, I appreciate it if somebody tells you, you know, hey, what you're playing sucks. It's kind of like if you're walking around all day and you got.
I made Aaron get a new drum kit, is what happened. I made Aaron get a new drum kit.
Yeah, I mean,
it's true. I did.
You should have. That thing was not.
What was the problem with the old one?
It just it didn't.
Butt rock.
It didn't have the right tone.
Man, you could ruin almost anything by saying that, couldn't you?
Yeah. No, he tried out for the band, and I was like, Aaron, love you, killing it. You got to get rid of those drums, man. I was just like, you could be in the band if you could get new drums. And he did it.
Wasn't easy.
But tell him about your drum kit. It's the best, right?
Yeah, I love it. You're gonna hear it pretty soon when the record drops.
Yeah, well, that's how I knew Aaron was like. Aaron was down to clown, because he was like, "Oh, you just completely made me get an entirely new instrument," and I was fine with that. And actually, thanked you.
Yeah, it sounds way better. It's a way better kit.
That's cool.
So,
what would you end up getting?
Pearl Decade.
All right.
100% maple shells. It's just an all-around great kit. You can't do much to make it sound terrible.
That's the ones you want. Yeah.
Good, real wet sounding kit. I love it.
All right, very cool. Just want to shout out Bryrex and Brody2447. Thanks for joining over on Instagram. We are just wrapping up here. So it's Brenna and Aaron of Crystal Spiders, and they have a lot of stuff coming up. You actually just want to maybe just let everyone know one more time all the stuff you got going on. Do you have a release date yet for the new record?
No, we have to turn it in first, because the vinyl delay is like long. So
yeah,
we were hoping it would squeeze in this year. It will not. So it'll be at you sometime in 2025. But I can tell you the album title, which hasn't been announced yet. But
can I guess? Does it start with an M? I was going to ask you that. Oh, so 3 in a row, all M's.
Yes, Metanoia.
Oh, cool.
Is the album title.
All right. So breaking a little news here. Thank you.
Yes. Well, had to give you a treat for sitting through all of our blather.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for that. And thank you for coming on. Both of you. It was great to chat with you. And is there anything else you want to just let people know? I know you got
Ripple Fest, Texas. You
go.
should go. If you can make it happen, please do, because the lineup is amazing. There's going to be like no overlaps. I will be partying the whole time, so come hang out with me. If you dare, I might constructively criticize you. I'll be on my best behavior. And then we will be playing with Horrors on October 16th in Raleigh. So, if you're in the area, or even if you're not, come on down to Raleighwood. We'll
There
take
you
good care of
go. Awesome. All right. Well, Brenna and Aaron of Crystal Spiders, thank you so much for jumping on the stream with us and talking through everything. We'll love to have you back whenever you want to come back, or when you drop your record, let us know, please, and then we'll have you back on. We'll talk all about that.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Of
This was so much fun.
Yes, it was. I had a great time, and just
thanks
wanted
to Angel if you're watching.
Yep, she definitely is. And I just want to say thanks to all the chatters too. Yeah, and for commenting and all that good stuff. So yeah, thank you very much, and we will see everyone next week. I can't remember who's next week, but I always do this, so Angel will post about it soon.